Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Melanie, Minister for Advanced Education, Skills and Training. I'd like to acknowledge we're on the territory of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh First Nations. Welcome, and thank you to my colleague, Minister of Mental Health and Addictions, Judy Darcy, for joining me here at the Vancouver Cabinet Office. When I first became Minister, post-secondary students across the province told me that there was a significant gap in mental health support services. Students, you explain the challenges you are facing to meet the demands of the 21st century, challenges to make the grade, to pay your bills, and plan for the future. Some students explain that their peers are suffering in silence, with no place to go when they need mental health supports the most. Students called on our government to fill this gap and to take action to support student mental health and wellness. As you know, the COVID-19 pandemic has hit our communities in various ways. Many people have been impacted by extraordinary circumstances beyond their control. We are all trying to cope, but as Dr. Bonnie Henry reminds us daily, we will get through this together. She also reminds us to be kind, calm, and safe. My ministry planned to launch our mental health counselling and referral services later this spring. But in the wake of COVID-19, the public service and our partners doubled down to make today possible. After months of consultation and student engagement, I am proud to launch Here to Talk. Starting today, every post-secondary student registered in BC will have access will have 24/7 access to this free mental health counselling and referral service. Here to Talk will be available to rural, urban, Indigenous, domestic, international post-secondary students in every corner of this province. Here to Talk is available to students studying full-time or part-time, attending public or private post-secondary institutions, Indigenous, adult, and higher learning institutes, or trades programs with the Industry Training Authority. It's a free and confidential service that can be accessed by phone, on the web at heretotalk.ca, and by downloadable app day or night. Students can search for the free Here to Talk app in either the Apple App Store or Google Play. They'll have access to qualified, experienced professional counselors who have the expertise in dealing with common challenges faced by students, some of which include dealing with isolation, loneliness and depression, stress, anxiety, and uncertainty related to their studies or post-grad plans, creating balance between competing personal and academic priorities, and building better communication or time management skills. We are investing $1.5 million per year over the next 3 years so that 555,000 post-secondary students registered in BC will be able to get mental health support services when they need it most. As we navigate this unprecedented and uncertain time together, it's more important than ever for all of us to stay connected, to be kind, calm, and safe, as Dr. Bonnie Henry reminds us. I'm thankful to the public service for expediting this priority initiative and to all the stakeholders across the post-secondary ecosystem for doing their part to support student success. I'm proud that Premier John Horgan appointed the first ever Mental Health and Addictions Minister led by Minister Judy Darcy, who will tell us more about our government's plans through the pathway of hope. No matter what, we need to break the stigma when it comes to mental health. We need to do our part to ensure that no one suffers in silence. Students, I want you to know that you are not alone. I want you to dig deep and have faith that you can and will cross the finish line to reach your educational goals, because the fact is we will need you more than ever to help us build the best BC as we recover, because we will recover from this emergency health crisis. I'm calling all of you to share Here to Talk with your friends. Download the app, tell your friends and family and your loved ones, because you never know whose life it's going to save. Thank you to everyone for doing your part to flatten the curve, and we will persevere together. And as I often say, we must continue to paddle together. I'd like to thank the stakeholders who aren't with us physically, but in spirit. Thank you for maintaining social distance, but thank you so much for weighing in for your expertise and the students who told us that we needed to get it right. Now I'd like to welcome my colleague, Minister Judy Darcy. Thank you, everyone. Tuxiasm.
Thank you so much, Minister Mark. Let me begin by acknowledging that we're on the traditional territory of the Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish nations, the Coast Salish people, and we are very grateful for the opportunity to gather here today. It's wonderful to be here with my good friend and colleague, Minister Melanie Mark, and thank you so much for making this really vital service a reality for over 500,000 post-secondary students across the province, because it will support post-secondary students in all corners of British Columbia, as Minister Mark has said. You know, we know that post-secondary school can be a very, very exciting time for students, whether they're starting their first year, whether they're partway through a diploma or degree, or whether they're in graduate studies. But with the feelings of excitement and anticipation also come a whole new set of challenges: intense class schedules, large workloads, the stress of trying to balance school and personal life, and also, of course, for many students, financial pressures. And then when we add in the uncertainty of the COVID-19 pandemic, that stress, that anxiety, that worry is compounded. And the reality is that the stigma that still too often surrounds mental health can stand in the way of people reaching out for help. It can stand in the way of post-secondary students reaching out for help. And that's why I'm so thrilled to be able to be here together with Minister Mark for the launch of Here to Talk, because this 24/7 mental health line will help countless students across the province get the help they need where and when they need it, no matter where they are in BC. Students who may not be comfortable accessing on-campus existing supports, but they can access this service anonymously, and that is so important. Students who are struggling with other issues like substance use issues, and substance use issues can certainly be exacerbated in this time of the COVID-19 crisis, they can use this service now and in the future. And students who are struggling just to stay afloat, and who need to have a compassionate mental health professional at the end of the line, they can connect with Here to Talk. And through this service, our government is making it easier for students to get the help they need faster. We're saying your mental health matters. There is help. You are not alone. And that's been certainly the direction of our government since we launched a Pathway to Hope almost a year ago now, Premier John Horgan and I, which is about really building a better system for mental health and addictions care all across British Columbia. But Here to Talk could not come at a better time, because we are truly living with unprecedented challenges here in British Columbia as a province, as families, and as individuals. And while we know that physical distancing measures are temporary and they're in everyone's best interest, it's also important to recognize the immediate and the long-term impact that the pandemic can have on people's mental health and their well-being. So I want to personally encourage, as Minister Mark has, encourage all post-secondary students who need support to call Here to Talk at any hour of the day. And I want to encourage all students and all British Columbians to access a number of services that we announced just last week to support your mental health and well-being during the COVID-19 pandemic. And you can find all of those services at the Government of BC website under COVID-19 Health and Mental Health. There are services there available for everyone, for adults, for seniors, for youth, for frontline healthcare workers, and now there's this 24/7 Here to Talk mental health line for post-secondary students of all ages as well. And that is so important, because now more than ever we need to be supporting each other through these difficult times and beyond. And what's also really important about this 24/7 line for students is that it is free, because far too often when it comes to mental health or addictions care, access to the care that you need depends on the size of your bank account. It does not with this program, and that's really, really, really exciting. So whatever you're feeling right now, whether it's anxiety about missing classes, whether it's worrying about your future, whether it's struggling to connect with your friends and your family and your loved ones, please remember that you are not alone. This is not forever. We have to stay connected while we stay apart, and we have to take care of ourselves at the same time as we take care of each other. Thank you.
We will now take questions. A few gentle reminders for the media. Please press *1 to line up for questions. Media will be limited to one question only. And we will be taking questions on today's announcement only at this time. Keep your phones unmuted. You will not be audible till your name is called. We will now begin with Richard Zussman from Global News. Richard, go ahead, please.
Minister Mark, obviously one of the big stressors for students is fear about completing their diplomas or their degrees. For those at colleges that have very technical requirements that they aren't able to complete, are you ensuring them that they will be able to graduate as quickly as possible, or will they have to start over again and repeat some of the work they've done? And are you worried about what sort of impact it may have on the workforce by having this cohort of students in skill-based learning not enter the workforce as quickly as they otherwise would have?
Well, thank you very much for the question. I can assure you that my ministry has been working from day one with all of the presidents and has daily contact around how to move to alternative methods of delivery so that students can get access to their courses online. There are, as you noted, some courses that, you know, if you're studying in labs or you're studying in the trades, you need some of that in classroom time, and they are being responsive and nimble while trying to maintain the social distancing. I share your not so much worry, but everyone is anxious at this moment, which is why we announced, expedited the announcement of Here to Talk. We want people to get back to the workforce as quickly as possible, but we're not in the recovery phase at this moment. Premier John Horgan just announced the extension of the emergency, the provincial emergency, but for today, presidents and my ministry are working with post-secondary institutions to get those students across the finish line. As I noted in my remarks, we need them to build the best BC, and we need them to be skilled. We need a skilled workforce, and we will do everything we can to make sure that they graduate with their credentials.
Thank you. And another reminder to the media, we are taking questions on today's announcement.